Hi, I'm Julian from Vass. This is Dimitri. We are here to walk through our one of our kits that we put into Land Rover Defenders to electrify them. Going to give you a walkthrough. We've laid out all the major components here on the floor, roughly in the area where they would sit in the original vehicle. In front of us, we've got two battery boxes. So this particular kit is a twin battery solution to give more range, more battery. In total, we've got 83 kilowatt hours. It's split about 22 modules in the front box there and 10 modules in the back. Modules are little blocks, battery blocks that you wire together. So there's a whole bunch of buzz bars and wiring inside each of those boxes that takes us up to about 400 volt level, which is what the Tesla motor needs. You can see that in the middle there. This is mounted centrally in the vehicle between the chassis rails. We use these custom-made brackets, and we've got cross members. So this is a fully bolt-in kit. Everything you see here is bolt-in. We do that so that it can be reversible, but also so it's compliant with rules and regulations around us not wanting to cut or weld or drill any part of the vehicle's chassis frame. But yeah, that's a 400 volt Tesla Model 3 motor. It's taken out of the Tesla, where it would have sat in the rear. It would have been rotated 90 degrees, and these are the power outputs for the left and right rear wheels. Obviously, in this case, we've rotated it so that the power goes to the front differential of the car, the Land Rover, and the rear differential. This has been re-geared. Straight out the car, it wouldn't have the right gearing to get the Defender to the right speed. So we've had to change that with a new gear set. We also reconditioned the motor and put new oil, new seals, and custom drive stumps ready to drop that into the vehicle. You can see a number of other components here. Dimmy, tell us a bit more about what we've got. Let's start with, how do we charge the battery? What have we got here?
Sure. So the electric Defender needs electricity, obviously. So now we have a charge port. So this is a Type 1 charge port meant for USA.
I was going to say this particular project is going to be going to the US.
Yep. So you've got your normal Type 1 charger, which you use at home or just supermarkets. And then you've got the CCS port, which connects directly to the battery to charge up the battery very rapidly. So within 40 minutes, you'll get 80% state of charge from 10%. So it's very rapid.
Public fast charging. Most people don't have that capability at home, right?
No one has.
Cool. Okay, so we've got a charge port there. Got a couple of big orange bundles of cable here. Now, I'm guessing this is high voltage cable, Dimmy?
Yes, correct. That's the high voltage cable. I believe that one is to connect the front pack to the rear pack.
Okay.
So the packs are connected in series, so we achieve the 400 volts. And the other cable is meant for the motor, so it connects to the front pack to the motor. It's very simple. Just zip tie to the chassis. It'll be good.
Okay.
Good to go.
And then over here we've got, I know we've got 3 items of componentry there. Talk us through what each one of those are. The orange giveaway for me is high voltage, right?
Yes, correct. So this right here is a normal charger for the car. So it'll charge the car at 6.6 kilowatts. So it's your normal standard home charger.
So that'd be like plugging in overnight. That takes 240 volts.
Yeah,
or we
correct.
also have a 120 volt version for the US market. And that's then outputting a high voltage current to gently charge the car overnight.
Yep, so that's correct.
Next up.
So the next up is, since the electric vehicle doesn't have an alternator anymore, we had to find one that converts high voltage. So it converts 400 volts to 12 volts to charge up your normal 12 volt battery. So all your lights, your radio, that still works.
Okay.
So it doesn't drain the battery.
And then the third item.
So the third item here is a PTC. So it's basically an electric heater for the car. That simply installs in place where the heater matrix used to be. Once again, it connects through high voltage to the battery pack, and it has a thermal switch inside of it, so it never overheats, so it doesn't damage the vehicle at all.
Excellent. And that'll be useful in colder climates, obviously, to warm the car, also demist the windscreen. You kind of can't get away in most countries, certainly not in the UK, without a heater. Great. Okay, should we head up to the front?
Sure.
Actually, before that, we've got a couple of bits here that are more kind of in the cockpit. So, the throttle pedal.
Yeah, the throttle pedal, since it's a Tesla Model 3 motor, we use a Tesla Model 3 pedal. Obviously, the actual pedal is remade, so we usually 3D print them out of ABS plastic. So plastic is the same, so it's still strong and durable. It's just the shape of it changes, so it's a bit more...
right. And we've also got an option to use a late model Defender pedal as well.
Yes, correct.
Which is digital. Okay, so we've got a throttle pedal fly-by-wire digital pedal, and then I guess there's a whole bunch of these sorts of stuff boxed up in junction boxes throughout the vehicle.
Yep, so that's the relay board. That has all your relays needed for the electric conversion. Also some lights, so like the brake light relay is replaced. So now the car brakes with normal brakes and also regen. So for both those things to work together, a new relay has to be put in. Also reverse lights, that has a relay. Okay. So all the relays, all the fuses are there.
Perfect. Now then, up front, let's talk cooling. What have we got here, Dimmy? Twin radiators?
Yeah, so in our conversions, we have 2 water loops, one for the motor and one for the batteries, just to keep those 2 systems apart because they run at different temperatures. Batteries like to be at around 25 degrees, motor likes to be about 40, 50 degrees. So yeah, okay, that's why.
And obviously a header tank for each of those circuits. So we're sending cooled water into the front pack, I guess, first. Then it heads to the rear pack, comes back to the front, goes through the radiator. Yep. Similarly, on the motor circuit, we send water down. We've got a couple of example pipes. We use these combination of aluminium bent pipes with hoses. We send water to the motor. Now, it goes down an interesting route, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
Enters, I think I'm right, you were telling me, enters here?
I believe so, yep.
And then what's that?
So that is a heat exchanger. So it exchanges heat between the oil within the motor with the antifreeze coolant. So we basically pull away all the heat from the oil into the coolant.
Okay. And then we've got a couple of hoses here. But the original Tesla motor would use one of these hoses to send the water. Once it's gone through the oil heat exchanger that's been cooling the motor, it goes in here, doesn't it? And it cools this side.
Yeah, so that is the inverter of the motor. So that's basically how the motor runs. Gets the high voltage, inverts it into AC voltage for the motor to work.
And that gets hot.
Yeah, that gets very, very hot, especially when you're pushing 300 horsepower. So that all has to be cooled. So again, comes in, goes through a heat sink, comes out to the radiator.
Back to the front. Okay, excellent. And then there's a couple of things up back in the engine bay that we lose or we have to think about when we take out the engine. So we've removed the engine, the original combustion engine. We've lost brake vacuum pressure.
Yep.
We've lost the power steering, mechanical hydraulic pump. So we've got a couple of things here, haven't we, that help with that when you convert to EV.
Yes, so for the brake vacuum, we've got a electric brake vacuum. So it's basically a motor that pump, creates vacuum, just a 12 volt. So once again, 12 volt loom. That's all done by that. Then to store the vacuum, we've got a vacuum reservoir. Doesn't have to be anything big, so this is what we went with. So that's the brakes sorted. And for the power steering, we have gone again with an electric option. So it's an electric power steering pump. It's got the reservoir on top, so it's all contained in a single unit.
Right, and that's giving us hydraulic pressure that we can send to the original Defender steering box.
Yep.
So we're not making any changes to the steering column or the mechanics of the steering, which simplifies the project, but also it means that the vehicle has a very similar feel to how it would have originally. Brilliant. Dimmy, thanks very much for the walkthrough. That's really excellent. I hope that was useful. Thank you very much.